Show, don't tell. That's a comment I've written on dozens, maybe hundreds of student papers when I give feedback. Maybe you've seen it on your own paper. If you're one of my students, maybe I'm even the one who wrote it there. But what does it mean? That's what this presentation is about. It explains the purpose behind the advice to show instead of tell and how to put it into action. When we experience the world, we do so through our senses. The 5 basic senses we usually talk about are sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. You're probably thinking, yeah, I learned that in kindergarten. What does that have to do with my paper? But the reason you learned about the 5 basic senses in kindergarten is because they're foundational to understanding how other people perceive their reality. It's through these sensory experiences that we make sense of the world we're in, and that means that sensory descriptions are a powerful writing tool. It's one thing to tell someone about an experience that you had, but it's quite another to make them imagine it for themselves. If you can do that, you're more likely to meet your writing goals. If you're trying to persuade your reader, sensory details can help you convince them. If you're trying to entertain your reader with a thrilling story, sensory details can help you keep them on the edge of their seat. If you're trying to inform your readers about the details of a science experiment, sensory details can make sure you capture the most important results. Let me show you what I mean. Consider this sentence. The sun set. That's telling the reader what happened. Now look at this sentence. The sky faded from orange to pink to red as the sun sank out of view. That's showing them. That's putting them in the moment themselves and helping them imagine it. That's what it means to say show, don't tell. When we say show, don't tell, we're talking about visual sensory details, but it's the same with any of the 5 main senses. You could make them experience it through sound. So instead of saying the band was loud, I could say the clash of the cymbals drowned out the rest of the band as they marched past. I could tell my readers she held a soft blanket, but I could make them experience it by saying her hands sank deep into the cloud of blanket. If I want my readers to know this taco is delicious, I might write something like, the bright burst of lime and the smoky spice of chili pepper is clear from the first bite. And if it's important for my readers to know that the trash can stinks, I could say the lingering scent of the forgotten casserole rotting in the trash smacked us in the face as we opened the door. There are some general tips you can take away from these examples. When you're trying to show instead of tell, you should always choose the precise over the general. Don't be afraid to be expressive. Find out what's unique or distinctive about the thing you're describing and focus on that. And avoid phrases like good or bad and pick more detailed adjectives. When you're thinking about sensory details, remember that there's a range that goes from the general to the specific. If I say the room was cozy, that's descriptive, but only in a general way. If I say the room had a crackling fireplace, soft blankets on the couch, and a stack of books on the table, I have shown you that it's cozy by giving these sensory details. But I've done it in a much more specific way. One really important thing to remember is that not all writing should be super descriptive. Remember, writing is communication and we use it for lots of different purposes. The question you should always ask yourself is what goal you're trying to reach with your writing. What does your audience need? The types of writing that are usually more descriptive are creative writing, like stories, poems, and novels, expressive essays, like personal narratives, and persuasive essays, where you're trying to convince a reader to see things your way. Less descriptive types of writing include informative reports where you're more focused on the facts than making the audience imagine the experience. Emails, business writing, and scientific studies are all types of writing that are usually less descriptive. Part of your job as a writer is deciding how descriptive this particular thing should be and adjusting your writing to meet those needs. However, if you're getting feedback that says show, don't tell, that's a sign that at least that reader thinks your writing needs to be more descriptive for this particular goal.